This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Bill King with us here on Halftime from Nashville Sports Radio, hosting in the mornings 6 to 9. He is the king of college football talk. And it's always good to have you on, Bill. We got Matt Jones here as well, and Matty T. How you doing today?
Hey, guys. Doing good. A little chilly. I like it.
You like it? It's football weather, right? This describes football weather, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I like it either way, but I'm kind of ready for a little cold snap. It's around, I think we're touching about 62 here in the 615, so it feels good.
Well, we got into the 20s in Fayetteville last night, so
wow.
So people are a little stubborn about when they turn on their heat or air conditioning for the first time. Did you have the heat on, or are you stubborn about that, saving a little cash?
No. I crack the window because it makes my wife really mad. So I do it just for spite.
Just to keep things even around the house, you know?
Correct.
You guys really sound like you got a fun marriage, Bill. I got to be honest. You got
7
5
kids. She's not leaving me. She's not leaving me after 7 kids. I'm good.
Not yet. You both know what's good for you, I think, in that case.
Correct.
So I just opened up this story. I'm not sure if you've seen this yet. You saw where was it Devontae Smith that pushed a fan off the field coming off of an NFL game recently? Now Alabama's investigating a video after the Tennessee loss where receiver Jermaine Burton, and this is on the ESPN story written by Chris Lowe, struck a female fan who rushed the field following Tennessee's win. Coach Saban even addressed it in a statement on Wednesday. Wow, that's pretty big. That's pretty big. Aside from the game and the result and everything, this sounds awful for Alabama.
Okay, let me tell you what happened to me during the show this morning. I'm looking at the story, and I'd seen some video earlier in the week, but I didn't really think much of it other than very unfortunate moment there for the girl. And then I saw somebody put her name out there. I know this girl. She played basketball with my daughter. I know her dad when we were 10 years old. I know this family. So it was really weird. I'm in a commercial break this morning. I'm looking at her name, and I'm thinking, I know her, and then I see her picture. So that is odd. There's going to be money involved here. I would assume Alabama is going to have to write a check to make all this go away.
The young lady's name is Emily Isaacs. She posted a video on her TikTok account with the comment, quote, Jermaine Burton smacking me in the head while walking past him after their loss Saturday. She added a thumbs up emoji and a hashtag ouch. So, I mean, you got the video evidence right there.
Played basketball at Franklin High and Wilco with my daughter. I know her.
See, I told you, Matt,
does the
this
kid
guy
play,
is as connected as he gets.
Does the kid play? Bill, Matt Jones here. Does the kid play from Alabama? Does he play next week, or does he play again this year?
Boy, yeah. I don't know if it'll be a week, but no, he'll play this year. But I know this family, and I haven't talked to them. I'm not going to call them about this, but the Alabama will write a check, make this go away. I would think.
I just think what Saban how you can't just go around hitting people for no reason.
Correct.
You know. So I think you got to suspend him at least. I mean, I don't know who the kid is or how much that kid plays or what it is if he's a real contributor, but it just sets a bad example, man. I think if you don't do anything disciplinary.
Yeah, that's true. And Jermaine Burton it's not a star. He's not a first-day draft pick. He'll probably make a team. But in the talent pecking order on that team, he's probably third or fourth if you're just picking out receiver weapons.
Gotcha.
And most of their weapons are younger. He's a transfer from Georgia. Remember, he played at Georgia a couple of years, had a good career there.
Well, it was quite a game. I couldn't get my eyes on the game because the Arkansas BYU game occurred at the exact same time. But I mean, what a classic game and a classic finish and everything. But just it's so rare to see Alabama's defense get run through like that. I'd seen where all but one touchdown for Tennessee came on first or second down. It's mind-blowing. And they were able to turn Will Anderson into almost a total zero on Saturday, which nobody else has been able to do.
Guys, they do that against everybody. And the other thing is, you just mentioned Will Anderson, and obviously we all know he's a hell of a player. I remember getting late into that game thinking, I didn't even realize he was out there. He's not even – I didn't even notice number 31. That's how irrelevant he was in that game. He never got close to the quarterback.
I wonder if anybody would ask Nick Saban about this. But they asked him about Drew Sanders during the week that Arkansas, played Alabama. But it really looks like somebody that Alabama could have used. Arkansas stole away one of the guys who might have started for Alabama and helped out a defense that just isn't as good as we expected.
Yeah, I mean, Nick said he'd be starting here if he had stayed. They were playing zone back there, and I don't. We were talking about it earlier. I was talking to Rusty Manziel with one of the Georgia sites. He's fantastic, and he said Georgia's not going to play them zone like that. They're going to try and man up with them. And you got to remember, Tennessee's best receiver, Cedric Tillman, hadn't played in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, and they were down McCullough, the safety, who was arrested last week, and it sounds like he might be back anyway for this next game, and I don't think charges have been filed yet anyway. I wanted to ask you about that Tennessee-Georgia game whenever it happens, because Tennessee's got UT Martin this weekend, so you don't have to worry about that too much. After seeing them beat Alabama, do you feel that Tennessee is a true threat in the East to Georgia? Because Georgia, I mean, there have been times this year where they've looked unbeatable, and there have been other times it's just like, they look okay, but go well enough to win.
One thing Georgia doesn't do is they don't get to the quarterback, and they lost a lot of talent, and they still may win it all. But that's a big problem, particularly in that matchup. Hendon Hooker is remarkably good in the passing game. He throws a beautiful deep ball, and he's the size of K.J. Jefferson, and he's a huge threat in the running game. And then they literally have weapons everywhere. Whoever they use is a weapon. Yes. I mean, Georgia's still the team to beat until proven otherwise. The game is in Athens, but it's more of a threat. I thought, guys, that Tennessee's limit would be 9 wins, regular season. They'd lose to Alabama and Georgia, and maybe one of those 50-50 games they'd lose. Now, if they go 10-2, it's probably a disappointment.
Interesting. Bye week for Arkansas. They look good against BYU. Going to get healthier. That's what's expected. But there's a big game this week, and like the two teams on Arkansas' schedule that's left that are the biggest threats are Ole Miss and LSU. Hogs get both of those games in Fayetteville in November, back-to-back weekends. And I've been talking. I'm not sure what to think about Ole Miss because I don't know if they've played anybody yet outside of Kentucky or that's about it. LSU, I thought a win over Mississippi State was impressive. Going to the Swamp and winning last weekend. I know that Florida's not great this year, but they've had a couple of impressive wins. I think LSU might be. I really think they might be the better of the two teams, and the one of those two teams that I think is a greater threat to Arkansas. And I guess we'll find out this weekend. What do you think on that matchup?
LSU's coming off their best game. That's their best game. They had a solid lead, tightened up towards the end. Daniels, the quarterback, played his best game. Defense was pretty solid. Keishawn Boutte, who's a first-team All-American when he's right, he hadn't been right all year, looked like he woke up, looked motivated, looked like he didn't want to be a diva in that game, and actually made plays. So if that's the team, and it's, as you mentioned, it's in Death Valley, then that's a very losable game for Ole Miss. Now this LSU team's got two freshmen on the O-line that are true freshmen playing at tackle. One's a left tackle. And sometimes they don't run the ball well, but it's a very winnable game. Actually, LSU, as of this morning, guys, when I was looking, is about 1.5 favorite.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I saw too. And one of the reasons, maybe the main reason that I think LSU is a bigger threat is because they can throw the ball. Like Ole Miss, I'm not sure I don't know about Jackson Dart and his ability to move the ball in the air very much, but LSU's got really good receivers. You mentioned Boutte. That's his first touchdown of the year. And Daniels is a real dual threat. And we've seen, one way to beat Arkansas is to do it through the air. And the Mississippi State game, I think, is a different situation because the Hogs were so badly beat up in the secondary. But I think LSU is just a greater threat. And I think because they can move the ball in multiple ways, for me, Ole Miss right now just looks like a one-trick pony.
They've got probably the best duo of running backs in America. And one's a true freshman. They actually can play three. And the quarterback, Jackson Dart, I watched him at Southern Cal, and he had a good year that year. But he doesn't have the arm talent, and this is probably not a fair comparison like Matt Corral had. He's not that kind of arm talent quarterback, but he's good enough. And they also have a tight end from Southern Cal that they use a lot in the passing game. So it's going to be fun to watch. But, yeah, last year you thought about the passing game, and this year it's Lane Kiffin in that running game. And they're really physical, too, those backs. They're physical. They make the first guy miss, and they're also in green grass, guys. They don't get caught.
Bill, I have Bama still coming out of the West. I don't know if you see anybody else coming out of the West, but out of the East, is it just Georgia or Tennessee? The winner of that game is probably going to be the one.
Not even close.
Yeah,
not even close. Yeah, I mean it's.
I don't have another
separation.
I was going to say in the West, I don't have anybody else coming out. I didn't know if you saw Ole Miss or anybody else coming out.
Guys, watching Nick through the years, nobody takes advantage of a loss or some bad news, whatever it might be, than Nick. This is beautiful for him. Now, obviously, he didn't want to lose the game. But what he can sell to them now, and here's the other thing. I know it gets covered up because Tennessee won the game, but that offense at Alabama's clicking now. Bryce Young was, and yes, he won the Heisman. He was phenomenal. I mean, he was incredible in that game. Jahmyr Gibbs, the running back, that's as good a twosome as anybody has. Gibbs is a absolute home run threat every time he touches the ball, and they put him back for kickoffs. And that receiving core is starting to mature. A lot of young guys. Latu, the tight end, had a touchdown or two in the game. That offense has really, really come on. And you know what, guys? Some of it happened when they put Miro in the game. It made them do other things, and now I think they're more balanced with young back.
It's funny how you put it, like how good they can be after a loss, and how that plays into Nick Saban's ability to coach, but it's like the opposite of what we always bring up with Nick Saban in the preseason and in the talking season. It's the opposite of rat poison, man. It's like rat food. Once they lose, it's like snap them back to attention.
No question. Nobody can take advantage of a loss or something to sell to the team like he can. Nobody can. He's better at most everything than all the other college coaches regardless, but even the psychological angle of getting to your team by usage of words, he's even the best at that, unfortunately, for everybody.
Man, I'd love to see Tennessee-Bama rematch in the SEC championship game. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah. If I'm Tennessee, I fake something. I don't show up for that at that point. But here's the thing. We were talking about it. If Tennessee is undefeated, that would mean you have to go into Athens,
right,
which is tough. But if they're undefeated there, they don't have to win that game.
Well, they just got to show up, huh? Like if they can't get blown out, you would say, or even if they lost by 3 touchdowns, you still
got blown out pretty much.
Yeah, be the fourth seed.
Yeah, I mean, now if UCLA is undefeated and TCU stays undefeated, and Clemson's undefeated, and Ohio State, they won't get in there because they're just not going to do that. They're going to balance it out. But if UCLA loses, which I think they probably do at Oregon coming up Saturday, TCU's going to trip somewhere, right? Then I think Tennessee would probably be playing with house money in that game, and let's say you lose 35-10. It still might get in.
All right, so 2 teams outside of the SEC to ask about then that are contenders for the playoff, and that's on an annual basis. Like the ACC might be a little bit better than we are used to from the last few years. I don't see any way that they get stopped by Syracuse, though. And after that, I'm not sure if there's anyone left on the schedule that could surprise Clemson. The other is Ohio State. And from what we saw from Michigan against Penn State, maybe Michigan is a real threat to Ohio State. What do you think?
They are a bully football team. And that's the blueprint that Harbaugh almost never got to. I mean, everybody'd pretty much given up. It's not going to happen. He tried to take the Vikings job on signing day. That was embarrassing. The blueprint is there. They are a tough guy football team. They run it for 408 yards on Penn State. 408 yards. They've got the best little running back in America, Blake Corum, who's somewhere in the Heisman top 4 to 5. And they also are efficient in the passing game. It's probably not their strength. That young quarterback's a 5-star, true sophomore, former 5-star, and he's coming on for them, beat out a veteran. They are a threat to Ohio State. You got to remember, guys, last year that game in Ann Arbor, they literally bullied Ohio State. They punched him in the face repeatedly and really not a lot of fight back. So the Buckeyes are very ticked off about this, and Michigan is also equally confident we can do this again. I really hope, and I think the last time this happened was 2006, but I think they could both be undefeated in that last game of the regular season, which they did in 2006.
So no chance Mississippi State upsets Alabama. The only game this weekend really in the SEC worth watching, I guess, is Ole Miss LSU.
Correct. I just coming off a game. First of all, Alabama. You
don't want to be Mississippi State this year, huh? Right now?
No. No. I would. Now, again, they've got Will Rogers is a hell of a quarterback, too. And they can run the ball. And they actually play some defense here. But Alabama, Matt, I mean, they've got a roster.
Yeah, they do. Mississippi State's defense is better than I thought. Give them some props. Mississippi State's defense is a real defense this year. They got some players, yeah.
You think about Leach and you don't think about that.
At all.
This team will strike you. No question.
Yeah, but you think of Zach Arnett now and you're thinking of defense. I think that's for sure. But we'll see because they're a 21-point underdog and it looks like 16 years in a row. A loss to Alabama after Saturday. Bill, we'll leave it there. Appreciate you hopping on as always. Thanks for your time.
Yep.
Thanks, Bill.
Yep, appreciate it.
Bill King, Nashville Sports Radio. And, Matt, you're right. You look at the SEC schedule this weekend. Vols get UT Martin. Mizzou and Vanderbilt. Boy, is that exciting when you're dead. And A&M in South Carolina is about as exciting as Vandy Mizzou. Mississippi State, Alabama. Okay. Ole Miss, LSU. I'd be on that.
That's the one.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Otherwise, SEC football is not that great this weekend.
Football is back, and BetOnline remains your number one source for all your football betting needs this season. You'll find the latest odds, matchup info, player news, and game trends. And as your continued source for all sports wagering info, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, live scores, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports and events like MLB, MMA, tennis, boxing, and even golf. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 100% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. Bet online, where the game starts.